people at the beginning were like fighting for lands, right? They were like trying to get lands, trying to expand. But now all the world has been conquered, right? Every single places in the world has been conquered. And the guy was like, what are we now looking for? And it was like, now people are looking for attention. They want to conquer your attention. They want to get all
the last great frontier.
They want to conquer attention. They want to get
the last great ocean to
exactly.
conquer.
So
that's crazy. Attention. Out here in Egypt, tune in live in Egypt, episode 3, Purple Matter. We upgraded our sets, we upgraded our environments.
Welcome everyone, episode 3.
Yes indeed, welcome back everybody to Purple Matter.
We in it.
Episode 3, change your environment.
Whenever you come home, it's like a Japanese house. You remove your shoes, here you smash the like button, you subscribe to the channel, and you let us know in the comment whatever you want us to talk about in the future episodes.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, sir.
Create action through action.
How you feeling? How you feeling, Ivan?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling like we're at the crossroad. The crossroads.
Tell me more. Tell me more about. I mean, maybe you can tell me more about the crossroads later on. But I feel like I've seen some shots of you at the airplane mode, and I want to do a big shout out to Angela with airplane mode. I've seen some clips. You were looking fire, my boy.
A good little.
Looking great.
Good little purpose. Obviously, you know, for those of you who don't know, DJ Angela Boo was a guest on the show. She invited us out to do a beach cleanup with some DJ music. In the backdrop, of course, the setting was beautiful. As the sun was setting, the music started to pick up and kind of ended up turning into a nice tribal get-together with music, good vibes, good people. So I think it was a really cool turnout. I ended up meeting Angela's boyfriend, Edwin. I'll have to introduce you to him when you get back. He's a brilliant guy himself.
I know Edwin.
Brilliant guy, good guy, great vibes.
Yeah, I think he should be definitely on the podcast. I feel like he's an inspiring person.
He is. I had no idea he was behind that.
Inspired Angela
too. Really cool. But overall, it was a good little event.
Fire.
Ran into some good familiar faces. You know, so I'm happy that there's different, I guess you can say, energy shifting type of endeavors like that. So it was pretty cool though. Pretty cool. How about yourself? You over there live in Egypt. You've been out there for a few days already, like a changed man already.
I've been here for a few days. I've changed, man. My vision of the world has changed. It's like, you know, people live so differently on the other side of the world, and well, I'm very inspired by how Egyptian people are really nice. You know, amazing people. Some people have told me it can be dangerous, it can be unsafe, but I feel really safe out here. I feel safer than when I'm in the US, or safer, you know. Yeah, for sure. It's really everyone with a big smile, you know. The only thing that could make me unsafe is if in my head I experience fear. Then I will be unsafe. But if I'm like, you know, I'm used to it in Marseille, in the south of France. There's a lot of part of the city that are, you know, really mixed, and it's my favorite places. It's my favorite places. It's super safe, super nice, family vibe. I feel like everyone is Habibi.
Wow, Habibi, my baby. You know, you learned some Egyptian?
Habibi. Yes, sir. I didn't know they were speaking Arabic here. I knew a little bit Arabic before, but I didn't know. So as soon as I arrived in the taxi, the guy was like, "Salam alaikum." I was like, "Oh."
You know, for those of you tuning in on the YouTube, the shit is epic. But I'm seeing the shit on the Google Meet. It's crazy. Pyramids in the back. That shit is wild, boy.
Pyramids in the back, my G. And the sky is getting crazy. Huh?
Epic.
Later we're gonna do some ATV in the desert with the
God.
sunset. We're gonna
That's
do some
fire,
ATV.
My man is out there.
That's gonna be
Man is
epic.
out there with the ancient.
So I'm learning a lot, you know. I've had a guide yesterday. She was doing me a tour. Very nice guide. I recommend if you're looking to visit Egypt, you can just let us know in the comment. I recommend directly a nice guide. She's gonna like make you skip all the lines. She's gonna make you see all the necessary things, and like the unnecessary things, she's just gonna skip it. But anyways, yeah, I've learned a lot. I've asked her so much questions. I've learned a lot about ancient Egyptians. I've learned a lot about how they were making those. I've asked her if it was made by aliens, but she told me it hasn't been made by aliens. I want to break the I want to break the I want to give the answer directly. It has not been made by aliens, from the Egyptians. The Egyptians are like, we have all the proof that it was human made, and it took over like 200 years.
That's
200 years to
that's
be
their
built,
theory.
or 100,000
That's
people.
their theory.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. But anyway, it's very admiring to see how wise they were at that time, and that's something that they acknowledge. It's like, yo, Egyptian people were like so much wiser than we are right now, and they had so much more knowledge on like how to blend nature and civilization. So that's really inspiring,
Sure.
you know.
I mean, according to the book of Theova, they learned all that from the Atlantean civilization, and the Atlantean civilization was a colony of the civilization of Mu. So we don't hear a lot of people talking about that yet.
And that would make sense too. What she showed me yesterday was like the first building ever made, the first one, the first rocks that was. But that was pretty clean for a first try. Honestly, like the building was super clean, super nice, and it's
That's
still
mad
here.
funny. You just
like,
gotta ask those questions. Like, this is a good one for a first one. You sure they didn't have practice before?
Yeah.
You sure they didn't have no help from nobody, huh? Just a bunch of humans, huh?
But it was like very well-known people, you know. What she said was like architects from it was like famous architects, you know, that was making this. Famous architects. And then they had like huge statues that at that time they were able to move, but even now they could have not moved it. So they built a museum around the statue. They didn't brought the statue to the museum. They had to build a new museum around the statue because it was like 80 tons.
That's amazing though, man. But it's a whole different way. It's a whole different feel or experience to be there in person, in reality, right? Touch the stones, feel the weather, feel the humidity. You know,
for sure.
Taste the sand almost and the wind. I can imagine. Out there in the desert, bro. You're in the northern Africa right now.
One thing that I loved was the hieroglyphs. So she explained me all the story that was written on the wall, and it's so crazy. Everything is written. Everything is said. You're like, right, exactly, codes, but very easy to read. Like, it was written like, okay, this princess got like, as a gift after she died, got 1,000 duck. She got 1,000 vase. She got like, you know, all the numbers of what she got. And then that was a gift for her for the afterlife. So, you know, I don't know if you heard about the Egyptian stories, but they really believed in the afterlife. And so they made all those tombs for the kings or the whoever was like during those dynasty. They were sending through the pyramids to the sky to become a god, and the god for them was the sun,
right?
Because he never died. He was infinite, eternal god.
Always,
you know, every day was here, and so those.
Yeah, that's fire.
Exactly. So the pyramids were made for the gods to like, boom, go straight in the afterlife.
That's wild too. I mean, even on that notion, on that theory, like let's say we disregard all the theories of UFO or extraterrestrial or whatnot, but just on the popular theory of these kings, these empires built these for the sole purpose of going into the afterlife. And to think that in this day and age,
Exactly.
we look at them and, there's always this notion of when you look back to ancient civilizations, we think that they are more primitive than us right now for whatever reason. But if they dedicated that amount of time, human lives, pure obsession to create these structures with those beliefs, who are we to say that they didn't know something that we didn't know about the afterlife? Right? Even to this day, who knows what's
Sure. If they were, and so the kings was like put it in front of one of the pyramids. It's called the Saqqara. It's not those one. It's farther in the desert. Saqqara pyramid, and the god was like put it in front of the pyramids, a little bit inclined like this, and looking straight at the northern star.
Wow, purely lined up.
Yeah, fully lined up. And if we put ourselves back into these years, that was like they were really believing in the sky. What they saw, they were like, "That's God. This northern star is God." But I don't know anything about religion. I'm like someone I can't really tell anything about religion. But I've asked her. So now the Muslim in Egypt, are they still believing in afterlife? And she was like, "No, we don't believe in afterlife, but we believe in reincarnation." They still believe in reincarnation. So I don't know anything about like really how it is, but apparently like afterlife, they go back, they reincarnate in Hala, I think.
In the Egyptian culture.
Deeply.
And the food has been crazy. Have you been eating some good Egyptian food?
Man, I've been eating like falafels and beans straight up. I'm vegetarian, so I don't have I can't really choose so much, but the food though is really amazing, really cheap. They always love, because for them it's the breakfast. The falafel is the breakfast, but I'm like lunch, dinner, morning. I'm like falafel, straight up, and they're like, yeah, Egyptian breakfast, breakfast. The city is crazy, man. There is no, the roads. There is no there is traffic lights, but
like
very little
it's
ones.
still
So
third world.
You can cross everywhere. Yeah, but still it is. But still, it feels like safer than in another country, because here you are the only one responsible of your moves. You are the one choosing when you cross, and when you're aware of when you gotta cross, I feel like it's safer because you're looking everywhere. In Tokyo, you're like here on your phone, scrolling
like
down things, waiting for the red light, waiting for the things. Yeah, here is like you gotta be. I don't know if I can't show you much right now, but the streets are crazy, man. The streets are crazy. The people with the horses, people crossing by walk, people cross the highway by walk.
It's crazy. Straight. It's crazy to think that the pyramids of Egypt and the surrounding city is not a metropolis yet. That's interesting. It's not advanced yet. How did that happen? How is it not modernized yet?
I think because it has been, I was asking her what came next. What came next after the Egyptians, and it was the Greek and the Romans, right? So I think all this knowledge, all this advanced technology, slightly moved toward the Greek after that, then the Romanians, and then went to Europe. Western Europe, the France, Italy, all those countries, and then after that moved to the US.
Right, but I'm even just imagining, in the last 100 years, why have there not been programs or initiatives to really modernize or develop the surrounding area of the pyramids? Maybe it's a cultural heritage. Maybe they're preserving buildings, but from your point of view, does it look run down? Does it look really raw? Is it I heard it's a raw place. It's kind of third worldy, second world.
Yeah, it's very.
That's fascinating, though, right? Like the pyramids, though.
It's nice.
One of the number one tourist destinations in the world. Where is all that money going if it's not going to the streets of Egypt? If it's not going to developing their own city, where's it going? Where's that tourism money going, brother? You got to ask them these questions.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's very cheap here. Huh? It's very, very cheap.
Not bad, man.
It's incredibly cheap.
That's fire. How was the energy though? Did you go into the pyramid? What was the energy like? Did you sense something? Did you feel something?
I went inside 2 of those. I went inside. It was very deep down. You gotta go. It's very small, and I felt it was super. I don't know if it was. I was not so comfortable inside. The guy didn't came with me. Just let me go downstairs. I felt it was very heavy, very hot. Not so like I wouldn't stay more than 15,
so
20
it really
minutes.
was like, kind of feels like a dungeon a little bit.
Very heavy. Yeah. Very heavy. Very like, and you know, it's very. I mean, it's not always comfortable to be like in the ground like
feel
this.
like
You know,
you're
in
in a
those
tomb. It's like a
very
it's
small
like a tomb. You
tunnels.
feel like you're in a graveyard almost.
You're exactly. But then all the writings so symmetric, so parallel. You know, everything is really nicely made, and still here at that time. That's the crazy thing. Even in the city, there is like a bazaar. You know, like a souk, like you know, those places
Right.
with like so many little shops. And she was telling me this place has like over 1,000 years. It's still here.
That's crazy.
People still living there.
I bet you I mean, I'm sure it's beautiful and all the different, you know, lights and shadows and textures of the city is probably gorgeous from a photographer point of view, content point of view.
It's beautiful. The colors are amazing. But well, I think like today we're speaking on a special day. It's like October 1st. We almost didn't made it because there was a lot. We almost didn't made it because there was a lot of people this morning here on the rooftop. Now it's safer, but I mean, it's more chill. But we almost skipped this day. I'm glad we got this call on the 1st of October because that's gonna be the chance to some great things. As you mentioned, I want to hear more about your point of view on this. But for you guys listening in the future, right now October 1st is like, first is a full moon. Is a new moon tomorrow. Sorry, is a new moon tomorrow, and it's gonna be
I think there's
eclipse,
like 3
you
eclipses
said,
coming up
and
this
it's
month.
also gonna be a huge.
And there's also the ending of a retrograde with Pluto.
And it's gonna be a huge
There's
typhoon.
a typhoon coming. You know, there could be an earthquake on the horizon too, just as these moon is going through these cycles.
Really?
There's been a few.
How do you?
There's been a few. I guess
that?
you could say like older friends who have sent some pictures of clouds to each other, saying like these are the earthquake clouds, and the cloud looks like a quilted sheet. But apparently, these are the type of clouds that, you know, these people are in their 60s, right? Like these little friend groups in their 60s. You're living in Taiwan their whole life, and naturally they develop that kind of like, you know, familiarity. Like, you know, you see a certain pattern of clouds the day before an earthquake, or a week or a month before. You know, it's just kind of like these natural these rhythms, these nature rhythms that happen. That I think the more and more you observe the natural world and the environment, you start to pick up. It's like, you know, that notion of like when animals can sense things before they happen. They know they're gonna have to move or they're gonna migrate, like these undercurrents. But we'll see what happens, man. Hopefully there's not a big earthquake here, but for sure there's a lot of energy shifts going right now from October to 2025. And you know, I'm not an expert astrologist, but I do look at astrology like a forecast. You know, for people who might be tuning in that are not really accustomed to astrology, I always ask this very observational question about, you know, the moon and the tides and human and what we're made up of predominantly. You know, we're made up of over 75% of water. And of course, if you can imagine, if a planetary body like the moon can start to shift and move the tides like the ocean, massive bodies of water, for sure there's going to be some kind of magnetism, some kind of effect on humans. Now, if the moon does that, the position of the moon does that, it would only be logical to imagine that every position of every planet and subsequently every star would have some kind of impact or effect, which then leads you to almost imagine that every cell of our body could potentially be kind of, you know, impacted and influenced by this with like these orbiting planetary bodies, which would then conclude almost that human beings are kind of like, universal puppets or holograms, so to say. It's like, it's crazy. I mean, it's like the things that some of these astrologists say are literally what goes on, or people are going through exactly what some of these and of course it's not accurate 100%. Like anything, it's just a forecast. It's just like a weather forecast, but it's a energetical, spiritual forecast, so to say.
I mean, as you say, like your friends in the 60s, they were like noticing those elements that were saying, oh, maybe this happens when there is an earthquake, when there is this kind of clouds, everything. I've noticed this too. The more I've been staying in Taiwan, the more I was like, oh wait, this is this kind of temperature, this kind of like wind, everything. This happens when there is a full moon. This happens when there is a new moon. And also in my own behavior, how do I act is always depending on like, boom, full moon. So if you guys, when you're listening, it's we're gonna talk a lot about the moons, because I personally now I'm ruling my calendar with the moon. I'm not ruling my calendar with the basic calendar unless it's for work, right? But my personal calendar is made on the moon. Each moon, each month. And it's not like each like January, February, those things has not much sense for me, because it's just written on a paper. When you look on like the evolution of the moon, that's where the true calendars come from. And it takes time, but the more we live like that, the more we get aware on how things change during those periods, and it's very intense. So I believe starting from today is going to be a big shift, a lot of new things coming up, and apparently my mom said, because my mom she'd been like in episode 3 I think on the podcast. Yeah, she follows a lot, and she always give me like keys elements on what's gonna come next. And she told me those next 3 months gonna be a preparation for next year, and next year gonna be huge and very chaotic years. It could be wars, it could be natural disasters, it could be like, so next year gonna be crazy, but it's for the better. I mean, for me, I really feel like it's for the better. It's for making a better world. And one guy that she was listening, it's a very old guy, nothing to do with artificial intelligence, but was saying that the world will be saved thanks to artificial intelligence. And the people that won't stay are the people that won't adapt to this new technology. And this guy is like nothing to do with artificial intelligence. He's a very old dude that studies stars, but was like still here. Was like, artificial intelligence is the help for society right now, and we need to embrace it. We need to learn it. We need to use it, and that's how we're gonna survive.
Didn't Abigad say 2025 was gonna go, something was gonna go down too?
Not so sure exactly about that.
I feel like he said something about 2025 as well.
Not so sure.
Of course, he's reading the book you're reading. What's it called? The Bhagavad Gita? The
Bhagavad Gita, yeah.
And then that is synonymous with something I told you before too, which in ancient Chinese culture, there's something called purple star astrology, where they take the exact date, time of birth of a person, and from that there's an entire chart and it's an entire system that maps out, all kinds of planets and stars and the positions in different houses, whether it's career, finance, family, love, personal well-being, health. And it's almost like this, I guess you could say, someone's the calendar of their life, and they can almost forecast and predict certain key events. And the idea is to try to give people a chance to prepare for things. Of course, that's a very big debate too, the debate between fate and, I guess, free will and chance, right? Determinism versus chaos, right? It's like, is everything planned? But then, of course, there's multiple timelines. So I think at any given moment, you can kind of shift, like, loop into another timeline somehow. if you're prepared and you're well. So, I mean, yeah, it looks like 2025 is gonna be.
Yep.
It's gonna be a very transition.
But we gotta be
sure.
excited, and we gotta be excited for that. We should not feel any fear. For people that are listening and that are a little bit worried about what's gonna come in 2025, everything, you know, there's, as you said, Ivan, there's like the low tide and the high tide, and when you're in the low tide, it's like we know it's gonna. Whenever I'm living my life and I feel a very tough moment, a very tough period, everything's going wrong. I'm like, yes, because I know what's gonna come next after that. So I'm like, let's go. You know, that's if there's no this, there's not the good time after. So every tough times comes a great time. Every great times comes a tough times. That's it. So next year is gonna be tough, but man, see the world we're living right now. It's not. We gotta move. We gotta grow. Is right now is not the best world we're living in right now. We gotta go through something to get better.
Some resets are coming, man, and it's like, you know, even today, was having a conversation with with my pops. My pops lives in Israel right now, and you know, he's just told me, like, you know, another alarm / another bombing in Lebanon. It's like, and I just asked, you know, sometimes you gotta ask that ultimate core question: what's the disagreement about? What's the original disagreement about? And then, you know, like, what's the original problem? What's the problem? And then it's like, you get down to it, and of course, there's history. People are well versed in it, but ultimately, it's, you know, the Jews were given a big chunk of land, and then there were Islamic extremists who just couldn't tolerate sharing that land, and then creates the land struggle until eventually, right, Israel built up their military and blah blah blah. But then it just compounds, and now we're here today, and it's like, it's like this never ending conflict, right? And it's interesting because then that kind of led to me realizing that humans are so imitative, back to like what Peter Thiel was saying. So then I sent you a link, because from that, my father was talking about this philosopher, the French philosopher Girard. And if you can watch that doc later, he talks about Memetic theory. René Girard. René Girard, a French intellectual, and he's a really underappreciated philosopher, intellectual author. But he talks about the Memetic theory, and it's crazy because remember we heard that Peter Thiel on Joe Rogan, and Peter Thiel was talking about how human beings are like these master imitation machines, right? Come to find out, Peter Thiel was Girard's protege. They were close friends. Yeah, they were close friends.
Really?
So it all comes back to Girard.
Wow, that's crazy. How old is your...
What happened? He just passed away. He passed away like a few years ago. He was, I think he was in his 70s, old guy. But he has a few crazy books, but his main focus is on Mimetic theory, and it's all about desire and how human beings' desire shapes society, shapes mythology. And then he relates that later to theology, because he feels like in all the myths of all the world and all the stories, there's only one story where the scapegoat, because in all myths, for some reason, when you have a desire, he talks about the triangle of desire, which takes a subject, an object, and a mediator. But when you have two people who desire the same object, you create conflict. Now, once there's conflict, what happens is sometimes you're going to need a scapegoat eventually in order for the two sides of conflicts to unite. So throughout history, you have different scapegoats. Of course, the Jewish people have been scapegoats for thousands of years, right? It's like people feel like we can all agree to hate a specific group, right? But according to Gerard, the only scapegoat that existed who was innocent was Jesus Christ. So it's very fascinating. But the mimic theory of desire is an explanation of human behavior and culture, and it originated from the French historian and philosopher René Girard. And it talks about the concept of mimesis, which carries a wide range of meanings, but it basically refers to human desire, where Girard thought that it was not linear, but the product of a process in which people imitate models who endow objects with value. So he called this phenomenon mimetic desire and described mimetic desire as the foundation of this theory. Man is the creature who does not know what to desire, and he turns to others to make up his mind. We desire what others desire because we imitate their desires. Now fast forward to Peter Thiel.
And is it
What happened?
Yeah. No, I was about to say, like, is it because I was observing right now when I was doing all this tour and everything, a lot of tourists taking so much photos, taking so much selfies like that, and I'm like, is it something that mimicking others is something that actually is a natural element of helping the whole world growth? Because if we just observe, right, and we want to do the same and we want to experience the same things, and is it just a mechanism that will help the whole society growth? What do you think?
I think it's innate. I do feel like it's a natural. The idea of this theory is that we're embedded with this intention or this internal motivation to imitate desire, and what that means kind of what you're experiencing, and I experience this a lot, especially because I'm a photographer. But sometimes you'll have a moment where you'll see something really cool, right? And then you'll pull your camera up to shoot it, right? But what I notice happening in the modern day, because everyone has a camera now, 10, 15, 20 years, only a few people held a camera on their neck. And like, I even remember being like one of the only guys, I started as a freelance photographer myself, but being one of the only guys wearing a big bulky camera on my neck at the party, and everyone is like, what's that? Who's this guy? Like, what's that? Why you got a fucking shit on his chest? You know what I mean? Like, right? It's like, what? Don't take a picture of me, bro, or take a picture of me, bro. Like, so that device already affects people's desires and their perceptions. But now fast forward, now it's so normalized. Everyone has a phone. Everyone wants to capture a piece of their life, right? But so I'll find a position where I'll hold up the camera now, or I'll hold up my phone. Like, you can even try this too, because there's a lot of weird little glitches in the human, social dynamic and behavior. But you can literally hold your camera up to the sky, and you'll see people will start to look at what you're looking at. And in fact, if you take a picture, or like, let's say there's a landmark, right? So many times it's happened where like, maybe me and my girlfriend are at a landmark and we're taking pictures, but then I will tell her, try to pose like this, right? The next people that are in line will do the same pose. They'll want that pose too. So then it goes back to this mimetic theory, which is like, the idea that proposes that all desire is merely an imitation of another's desire, and the desire only occurs because others have deemed said object as worthwhile. This means that a desirable object is only desired because of societal ideas and is not based on personal preference like most believe. Now, this is one of the very interesting foundations of group theory, I think. And group theory later becomes very dangerous because now, you know, we went into this tangent because we were talking about how 2025 is getting really volatile, like wars, you know, people in conflict. And it's because you have these massive groups who desire something. They desire the same thing almost. But it's like both groups are, they're like validating the thing that they desire via conflict. Fast forward to Peter Thiel though, and Peter Thiel is a big AI investor, as you know, and he's in tech, right? So then I started to realize like TikTok is taking advantage of Mimetic theory. Instagram, you know, YouTube, of course, is taking advantage of Mimetic theory. Because
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, I can hear you now.
I can hear you now. I think we're reaching. We have like we can do 5 more minutes. I think the Wi-Fi is
I think
getting
we got
slow
like
right
10,
now.
10, 15 before you gotta go hit the sand dunes. But yeah, Mimetic theory is very interesting, brother.
I'm about to hit
In
the
terms
sand
of the
dunes.
desire of what motivates us and what creates desire within humans.
And I think it's really fire. I gotta have a look to that, and I want to say also because you were saying about like where your father lives, and you were asking the question like why are we doing this? What's the matter at the beginning? And I was watching something earlier that was saying that all the people at the beginning were like fighting for lands, right? They were like trying to get lands, trying to expand, but now all the world has been conquered, right? Every single places in the world has been conquered, and the guy was like, what are we now looking for? And it was like, now people are looking for attention. They want to conquer your attention. They want to get all
the last great frontier.
They want to conquer attention. They want to
The
get
last great ocean to
Exactly.
conquer.
So
That's crazy. Attention.
So I think this is something to be aware, you know, after like all those lands conquered, then is like your mind. Big companies just trying to get like pieces of your mind,
estates.
pieces of your spaces
Not real
in your
estate, mental estates. Yeah.
and time as well. And it's time as well, because it's like they are getting your time. They want like they want you to give all your time to these companies, so they're just getting times. And
I thought of
that's really fascinating to know. And
I thought of a really interesting kind of like a science fiction theory. I'm gonna make a prediction. You can clip me on this. It's about to be a crazy clip. But you know how we were talking about this time period where everybody's creating content right now, right? And like you go onto IG, you go onto X.com, YouTube, whatever, and you're starting to see advertisements for creative tools. Tools to help you make better reels, tools to help you make better movies, tools to help you create better content. So we are entering an attention economy fueled by content. But then I started to think to myself, why is there such an agenda to create more content? Why is there such an agenda to capture more of human beings' experiences all over the earth? And then I realized that there could be a possibility. Now imagine if there is an apocalyptic event coming that only a few people know about. And in order to preserve this time period, just like hieroglyphics, in order to preserve the history of this time, there's an agenda to incentivize all humans to capture their lives on tape, on recording, before the great cataclysmic flood or earthquake or meteor.
That's a crazy.
For real, like imagine if actually this human
that's a crazy
civilization
prediction.
really only has
That's a crazy.
another 50 or 100 years left. So this is the agenda. Everybody capture your memories, put it into the cloud.
I think
Like, we need to record this data before it's.
this is a way to see the thing, but I feel like the agenda, to me, to what I'm thinking is like the agenda right now, why we're making that much content and everything, is made. That could be one of the reason, and
Right.
you know, who knows? We'll get back your clip. The next civilization we watch as our clip, and it was like, yo, this guy knew, but I feel like for me, the reason why right now we are making that much content is because, as the guy was saying, that artificial intelligence is the only way to survive this thing, is that we want to feed as much information to the cloud. We want to give as much data as possible to the cloud,
like,
to make this artificial intelligence grow and being able to help us during the future.
it needs data sets. It needs humanistic, human-centric data sets. And just before our call, there's a guy named Greg Eisenberg. He has the podcast all about startup ideas. And he just did a post that he realized that the future of applications, the future of tools, is not going to be in apps. It's not going to be in UI data tools. It's going to be very similar to like that girl Sarah Justo who created the AI character. The future of apps and tools and employees are going to be AI
It's going to be characters.
They're going to be characters with full personalities,
For sure.
different skins, different
For sure.
images, different creatures, avatars. So like right now we use Google Meet, right? And we gotta type to Google Meet or something. Sure.
You even gonna be a character yourself.
Right. But theoretically, the apps.
Everyone would be. I mean, you know, all the data you're feeding right now.
Right. I might be training.
Yeah, but you're gonna be
training.
It's not
we might be training characters.
It's not like you're gonna.
We're training characters without realizing.
But that's what we're doing right now.
Just by
all the data
uploading
from my iPhone, you know, exactly. All my data since I'm born is stored in my cloud, right? Every single thing. So, in the future, as soon as I die, if they want to like make myself again, it's easy. They have everything. They have all the details. They can just get all the data and make me talk to my sons. We're like, yo, you know, on the 1st of October 2024, I was speaking with Ivan with the pyramids on the background and doing all, you know, they know everything. So we're basically feeding information to make ourselves digitally infinite.
Yeah, perhaps. Very likely. And so the idea is like even Google Meet, like there will be no websites actually. Imagine there's no more websites. It's just AI people. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna type in a website link. I'm gonna go into a portal and I'm gonna say, Google Meet, come up. And Google Meet's gonna appear. And Google Meet is gonna be a human. Understand? Google Meet is gonna be a human. Visually, it's gonna be a human. And I'm gonna talk to Google Meet, not on my laptop, but it's gonna be AR glasses or something. And I'll be like, Google Meet, set up a conference call with me and Armel at blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but they may...
Like, you feel me?
Yeah, but Google Meet may be
you
like...
You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's
like yeah, it could be like a... No, I understand.
Like, it's not gonna be
like
the UI, the UI
like,
interface.
The staff, Google Meet staff.
No, it's not gonna be no staff. It's gonna be one entity. Like every company, every business is gonna have one entity.
Yeah, but the entity would be feel like. Yeah, but I'm sure they're gonna market the entity as like a helper.
No, it's not gonna. It's not gonna be. It could be a helper, but I don't think it's gonna be a helper.
To make it more real.
I don't think it's gonna be a helper. I think it will be.
But to make it more real in your experience.
Yeah, I guess it'll be like a helper, but my point is it's going to look like a human. Like. The app is going to be a human. It's going to be a cyborg.
I agree.
So it's like even like.
I agree.
Yeah, even like Shopify.
You go to the Nike store. You go to the Nike store. You put your glasses. You go to the Nike store. Boom! You get a Nike staff coming up, and it's like, yo, what do you want to try today? You want to try the Yeezys?
He's gonna be like a crazy stylist.
Sorry, you had the Nike store.
I had this combo with one of my friends in New York too, as AR is getting more developed, because now we're going to be designing within a three-dimensional space now. So we're coming out of the 2D computer, two-dimensional computer screen. We're coming out of 2 dimension. So now, even for you, Armel, myself, you, people listening, we have to start retraining our brain on how to design interactive tools now, because somehow technology is going to be that, you know, of course we talked about like ancient forms of like telepathy or, you know, bilocation or teleportation, right?
I mean,
right, those ancient talks about
basically what we could do is like, in the future, you and I will have our own avatars and we'll be on the panel, digital panel, and people can just come up digitally and be live. It's like feeling they're next to us. They are just right next to us. It's like
Right.
It's like a digital panel, a digital exhibition. So that would be a way of like making podcasts more I lost my words.
more, I guess you could say, more realistic, more natural, more.
More realistic,
I
exactly.
think technology's goal in
Exactly.
a weird way. Technology wants to be organic. For some reason, I feel like technology wants to become biological. It's like a strange desire. It's like technology has a desire too. And when I say technology, I mean like a macro consciousness of technology. The humans who build technology, the AI algorithms who are embedded in the technology, perhaps even the current existing sentient AI that exists within the mainframe that is already thinking on its own. Like, of course, it's not going to be in the news, right? But these things are perhaps thinking, and it's kind of like, in a weird way, the myth of Pinocchio, right? The puppet wants to become a real boy.
Yeah.
So there's a desire
For sure,
to become
for sure.
biological.
Exactly.
And then, of course, you have
Exactly.
the Elon, back to the neural link, right? This is the fusion, you know.
Yeah.
But
I think on those words, Ivan, I think we can explore those on the next
Sounds
episode.
good.
I think like I like this episode because we went like we made a nice link with like technological investments and what's next for civilization. So I feel it's very interesting. I want to
right,
talk
we just
more
having
about
fun with it.
during the
For
next
people
one.
who are listening,
Definitely.
don't take us serious. This is just a couple of guys breaking ideas and concepts down. We're building in public. You know, you got to have fun with it. Don't take it too serious. We are brainstorming.
Exactly.
We are imagining. We are building the future through our words,
We
through our
ain't
actions.
professionals.
What's that?
We're not
We're
professionals.
not
We're not
professionals.
professionals.
Don't try this at home. No, I'm kidding. But one thing is for sure, we are always in developing our intuition. We are always increasing our awareness through these type of conversations, and we invite you to take part in the conversation. So like, comment, subscribe, comment your questions, comment the discussion topics, hit us up. We're open books out here, man. You know, it's been a great episode 3. Armel is in Egypt. It's looking crazy out there still. The sky is gorgeous.
Nope.
It's looking godly. It's looking godly.
That's how
real.
it is. It's God's plan. It's God's
Hell yeah,
plan.
brother.
That's it.